There's no guarantee that your thinking process will always produce the same result. There are many factors that cause the results to be different. All right. Now, constructivism. Hold on. Back to cognitivism one more time. Now, to summarize cognitivism, if your thinking leads you to different result, and like I said, sometimes it's the same result, sometimes it's not the same result, right? It means that reality does not exist. Let's say if you're thinking about the situation at the first time, the result is A. So A is real to you for a certain period of time. And when you think about the same situation again, the result changed to B. So A is no longer real to you, but B become more real to you. And there's a possibility that if you think about it again, the result may be C. So B no longer real. C replace it. Like I said, if something were to be real, it has to be only one. You cannot have many realities. If something were to be real, it has to be only one. Okay, that's the concept. Now, constructivism explain the same thing, that reality does not exist. Constructivism emphasize that the human experience in life, human experience in life, human knowledge that they collected through lifetime, the worldview that humans have, influence different realities. One more time, the experiences that we have, the knowledge that we have through time, the worldview that we have, the perceptions that we have about things, influence the reality. All right. So it affects our reality. Like I said, that if we look at certain situation by standing in one corner, we will see only part of the big picture or part of the whole reality. That tiny part of the reality that we see make us feel like it's real to us, when in fact we only have or only see just tiny part of the whole reality. So the reality does not exist. Now, when you read historical books written by authors, different authors, you will only perceive certain side of view or one side of view from the author, because the authors or the writer of the history, they use their own opinions, their own view, their own perception to explain what's real to them. For example, if you read Thai history or your country history book, mostly you will perceive the idea that your country is a great country. Your country has made a lot of legacy. Your country is superb. Sometimes when the authors talk about wars and conflicts, they often make their own countries sound like the victims to the others. For Thai history, oftentimes the Thai authors, the Thai historians would say that the Burmese often attack us. Laos, Cambodian attack us, burn down our city, enslave our people, rape our women, stole our properties. We are being victimized by those neighboring countries. That's the kind of ideas, that's the kind of reality that they put into the historical record. So once you read those historical record, or once you perceive geographical information from certain author, you can only get one side of the idea, one side of the stories, or one side of the reality. When you use this theory, to study human activities, bear that in mind. You have to gather information from the opposite side of views. You always have to think of alternatives. All right. What I'm saying is that if you read the books and say that the Burmese, Laos, and Cambodia often attack Thai people, we have been victimized. Do not believe in that. You have to also search for the historical record from Laos, Cambodia, and Burma to see what they say about wars with Thailand. And then you gather the two sides information and neutralize the information. Constructivism just saying that people will always introduce their own reality to other people, but their own reality may not be real, may not be reliable, okay, may not be the fact. We always have to have alternatives, means we always have to look at other views, look at other opinions, second opinion, third opinion, fourth opinion, to see, if we can come up with something that's more neutral or not. We can never depend on one piece of information. All right. Now let me give you some example. I use the same example as other class. I'd like for you to describe the first word that come into your mind when you see this thing. Okay, type it ค่ะ Go ahead. When you see this thing, type it. This thing in my hand. What's the first thing? How can you describe this thing? Describe this thing in one word. What's the first word? แล้ว type. ผู้พิง said pen, 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 pen. นัชชา said white. Pen. First thing that got into your mind. Describe this thing. Toy. Plant. Rubber. Plant. That's good enough ค่ะ Thank you. Stick. That's good enough. P. Okay. Thank you for all the feedback ค่ะ for all the comments, for all the answers. Now guys, you see, I'm holding just one thing. Just one thing. But look at how many answers I received. I received P, stick, plant, rubber, pen. What else? Long, toy, white. Just one particular things. You guys see it differently. So P is a reality for thin. This is a stick and this is a reality for Sahapat. Supicha said this is a plant. This is a plant. This is a reality. This plant is a reality to her. Ekapum Tawi said this is a rubber. This is real to Ekapum Tawi. You see now that each one of you have different experience in life. Some of you have experienced this thing before. You said it's a pen because you used to have this kind of thing and you use it for writing. Right? Some of you've never seen it. So you describe the appearance of this thing. You said it's long. Some of you said it's a plant. The shape look like a plant. You guys have your own reality. Now, can you tell me whose reality worth more? Whose reality is more real? Is Tin reality more real than Sahapat? Sahapat said it's a stick. Tin says it's pea. Ekapum Twi said it's a rubber. Okay, Supita said it's a plant. Which one of these consider as more real? We cannot justify who give more reality because these things can be real to anyone. It means that no such thing as reality at all. Pea is not real. Stick is not real. Plant is not real. Rubber is not real. Like I said, if something were to be real, it has to only be one. All right, so no such thing as reality. We all have different, let's say we all have different reality. Something could be real to us, but may not be real to others. So no such thing as reality. If I give this bottle to a young child and ask a young child, what is this in my hand? A young child may say, well, it's a toy. I can maybe use this to throw on people's head. This is real. This is real to a child. The child's not wrong. It can be used as a toy. It can be used to throw to people's head. It's real to a child. But if you give this to adult, some of you have seen this before, you will say, well, this is an inhaler. You sniff it when you feel drowsy. And yes, it's real to that person. And if you give this to other adult, another adult may say, well, this is a kind of, it can be a kind of equipment that we use to massage our hands. You can say that. And it can be real to that person. So there's no reality about this bottle. It can be many, many things. So no reality. Okay. If you are okay, understand this theory, press 1 ค่ะ. If you have question, please throw it in right now ค่ะ. Don't hesitate นะคะ. Throw it in right now. If you are okay, we can move on. Okay. Thank you ค่ะ for the feedback. If you don't have, if you have problem, always press 2 นะคะ. What else? Sum up again นะคะ ได้ค่ะ. Constructivism explain that no such thing as reality. We all have our own reality. Our reality may be true, may be real to us, but may not be real and true to others. This means that there's no such thing as reality. If something were to be real, everyone have to see the same. Everyone have to accept the same. Let me show you this. if I ask you guys what I typed to you just now, all the students in this class, 30 people here, will say, well, you just type down A. A is real to us. We all agree, right? Because we perceive this A before. We have learned what is this sign, what is this alphabet. We have learned before. So A is real to us. But if you give this A to the people who live in different countries, who've never seen English alphabets before, who have never uh, come across these kind of alphabets, English language before, they may not know what it is. They may say triangle. And it can be true too. This is triangle, somewhat a triangle. That triangle is real to them. And they're not wrong because, yes, it is triangle. So A does not exist. A does not exist. Things are existed because we believe it existed. That's very important. Things existed because we believe it existed. For example, okay, to confirm what I just said, we believe that a nation exists. We believe that the country exists, a nation exists. We believe that there's a borderline that divide our country, from other countries. We think that that borderline exists. But guys, in fact, when you look at the world map, without those lines, those imaginary lines that we drew on the map, our world is divided into 7 continents. That's about it. There's no borderline that actually appear in reality that divide countries from one country. Those boundary lines were imaginary lines that we believe it exists. So the nation, we believe that the country exists, a nation exists. It's just a belief, when in fact, okay, the world is divided into big pieces, like 7 big pieces. Do you understand this now, that something were to exist, only we believe that it exists? Thinking of something else. Don't want to use example of love.อะไรดีล่ะ emotion emotion เหรอคะ hang on นะคะ with the emotion it's a bit hard to explain, even though emotion can be tested by science, like when we get angry, certain type of hormone raise up. When we feel love, certain type of hormone, pheromone and things like that increase. It can be tested, and like I said, if it can be tested, that's real. Anyway, I can't nothing. Culture, we believe it exists. Culture. Let's see if we can use culture as an example. culture. Culture has its own practice as well. It's not all about belief อะค่ะ the practice is actually real. It's something physical, with the practice. The culture is not just something that's full of belief อะค่ะ The culture is not something that's full of abstract. It also has some physical part as well. So I'm not certain if we can use culture. Let me think about it. If something come up, something more reasonable come up, I'll let you know. Nothing come up to my head rather than one thing that came up to my head, the nation. That's another example, but I don't want to use it. It may get me into trouble. Okay, I'll just go ahead and use it. Can't think of anything else. The monarchy. They exist because we believe that they exist, especially when it comes to royal bloodline. Royal ghost เดี๋ยวนะคะแป๊บนึง I'll get back to ghost in a second. The royal bloodline. We believe that this is real. But what I'm saying is like when the king have children, so the children of the king will share the royal bloodline, and those prince and princess, when they get married and have children, their children still have royal bloodline, even though the prince and the princess may marry the commoner, the normal people, the peasant. The royal bloodline still there. The royal bloodline will disappear after the fourth or the fifth generation. You understand? After the fourth or the fifth generation, the royal bloodline will disappear. For Thailand, after the fourth or the fifth generation, those children no longer earn the title in the monarchy. So the royal bloodline is just from imagination. We believe that it exists. How do we know that the fifth or the sixth generation no longer share the bloodline with the king? All right. How do we know that they no longer share the bloodline with the king? For sure, they share DNA with the king, according to the family tree. But the word royal bloodline, it can only last for the within the fifth generation. After the fifth generation, you no longer consider as being part of the royal family. So just one example to show you that we think that the royal bloodline exists when it does not exist. And the king, the monarch, they are not special. They are not different than us, just that we gave them authority. We are the one that gave them authority. We add the something extra to them, something special for them. All right. So we are the one that make them special. We are the one that make them different from us. Okay, imagine if we no longer believe in the monarchy, no longer believe in something superficial like that, those who are in the monarchy, they will become like normal like us, right? They are special because we believe they are special. The ghost, I have a thing about ghost Pichaya. I'm sorry, I personally cannot use this as an example. I do believe ghosts exist. I'm afraid of ghosts. So I find it hard to explain it. But for some people who do not believe in ghosts, they can probably explain it. But me, I think ghosts exist. I'm afraid of ghosts. Money, Sahapat. Money. Money is, yeah, you can say that money is, can be example. Money exists only because we add values into it. If we no longer add values into it, money means nothing. Inflation. Inflation is one example to show you that. Inflation. The inflation is a situation that devalue the money. Inflation is something that devalue the money. So the money can only be useful, can only be important to us because we give the value into it, because we believe it has value, right? But for some people who live in the jungle, like in the deep jungle, in the forest and things like that, money does not exist to them. That's not important to them at all. They don't need to use the money to survive. If you give them 1,000 baht to a jungle people, they'll be like, what is it? Why are you giving it to me? It's just a paper. It doesn't mean anything to me at all. So money does not exist. It's not real to the jungle people. But it's real to the city people. Like I said, once again, if something were to be real, it has to be only one. Everyone have to agree on it. โอเคไหมโสพิษนภาใช่ไหมโสพิษนภาโอเคยังจ๊ะฟีดแบ็กหน่อยจ้ะโสพิษนภาซิวแดไหมโอเค then let's move on space and time ค่ะ next theory this theory is a physics theory honestly I fail physics I do not like physics at all because it has a lot of calculation that I cannot figure it out therefore I am not going to go into depth about this theory. I'm just going to touch part of this theory ใช่ hate physics อะบ้าบอไม่ได้ใช้งานอะตอนเนี้ยเรียนไปทำไมไม่รู้ anyway I'm just gonna touch the surface part the introduction part of the space and time the part that we can use to study human geography or human activity or some of the concepts that may change our world view about things around us. We're not going to do the calculation, the formula within the space and time. บ้าบอ cannot deal with it. Okay ค่ะ Space and time also explain that there's no such thing as reality. So cognitivism, constructivism, space and time, they are in the same group. They against the idea that reality exists. They all think that they all propose the same thing that no such thing as reality. For space and time, listen to this carefully นะคะ It explained that in the space, in the air, you can say air, in the air or in the space, there are multiple dimensions, tons of dimensions that exist in the space. Dimensions are piling up on top of one another. Dimensions are putting right next to one another. Do you understand? Dimensions can be piling up on top of one another. Dimensions can also be put right next to one another in order like that. So dimension up here, dimension on this side as well. Each dimension is divided by smallest unit of time or small moment of time. The time divide the dimension from one another. Like what you have seen in the movie, Superman, Marvel movies, Avengers and all. If you travel fast enough, you might be able to go into the future, to another dimension in the future, might go back to the past. All right. So the time is what divide dimensions to get from one another. Also, there are more than one universe. There's a universe that we are living in right now. And there's another universe that we are also living in right now. We call other universe as parallel universe. If you are a big fan of Marvel, you should know this. I am. The spell ให้ parallel parallel hopefully I'm a bad speller. Parallel. I probably spelled it wrong. Parallel universe. It means that based on space and time ค่ะ พิชยา based on space and time theory they explain that multiverse exists I ไม่รู้ I'm not there yet I'm not you know I I'm not a scientist myself I'm just interpreting the theory but I myself now you ask me I believe in multiverses I believe in parallel universe I do believe in that I can only say I believe I cannot say that this is a fact just my sense my belief anyway ค่ะ one more time นะคะ space and time said there are numbers of dimensions in the air and in each dimension it has us in it not only that we are in these dimensions in this universe there are other universe out there that also have us in it and in each universe right now out there it has also other dimensions within that universe so there are uncountables of us out there somewhere in the space question is one more time นะคะ if this theory is true the question is which one of us that's real us right now sitting here is real or us in another dimension is real or us in another universe is real if something were to be real if us were to be real there must be only one us ใช่ค่ะ that so พิษนภา each dimension เนี่ย separated from one another or divided by time it separate us I mean the dimension separated from one another by small moment of time like right now a second is the smallest units that we normally use right like for example I'll see you in a second and 2 seconds pass okay you meet your friend that's the smallest unit of time that human use right now okay in fact there's a smaller unit of time that we cannot feel it the time between second from 1 second to another second that tiny portion of time right there is what separate dimension from one another that's why the scientists explain the physicists explain that if we travel fast enough we can go to another dimension the dimension in the future the dimension in the present all right so us in the present past or future is real that's one question that you need to think about which one of us present past future which one of us is real also the moment right now that we are having are we in the present or are we a past of another dimension right now have you ever thought about it is this the past or is this the present or is this a future of the past where are we and there's a possibility that we can also be present past and future at the same moment of time if there are piles of dimensions numbers of dimensions in the air so there's a possibility that we can be all at the same time past present and future at the same time we can be past for another dimension we can be what I'm saying we can be past for another present we can be future for another present we can be all at the same time or maybe we are now the past maybe we are now the present maybe we are now the future so what are we real or not think about it that's another thingนะคะ let me note ก่อน I'll get back to this in a second according to the concept of parallel universe at this moment of time in this universe you and me are in the class having lecture all right at this moment of time in this universe you and I are having lecture all right and after this lecture you will get so exhausted so tired you use too much energy to try to understand me more likely your future is that you are going to bed you're going to take a nap and after you took a nap you may get so hungry after you get up you may go eat that's another future but at the same moment of time in another universe at this particular moment of time in another universe you probably be doing something else you probably doing your shopping another you in another universe the parallel universe you probably doing shopping right now after you shop you probably eat after you finish eating you probably want to just burn your calorie so your future you are going to do the exercise After you finish your exercise, you're going to take a shower. That's another future. You can see now that even though the universe have the two universe have you in it, but your future could be different. Your present can also be different. So which one of you is it that more real? Be aware that there's another you in another universe probably doing something else. If space and time theory is true, okay? If it's true, just that this theory just crack down the way we look at the world, the way we look at the universe. We have concept, we have hypothesis that we come up with. We are now trying to develop tools to prove those hypotheses. We already came up with formula, the calculation. We already had calculation to prove that other universe exists. We already have the calculation to prove that the dimension exists, just that we are not able to build up the machines, okay, in order to collect the evidence from other dimensions or collect the evidence from other parallel universe to show to people. The calculation is already there. And I think the calculation is already enough to prove that this theory is true. Okay, so in the near future, I hope in this lifetime I would want to see something, some new update from this theory. So I know that the Soviet Union, the Chinese, and the Americans are working on this. As far as I know, the Chinese have already developed their quantum physics, just like what you saw in Marvel movie, guys. If you interested in this นะคะ go look at the Chinese research on the quantum physics. They're doing very well. So if they keep doing this the way they're doing, very soon we will have more evidence. It's gonna be like a new big things that change everyone's worldview, right? I'd like to mention this example from Buddhism. The Buddha, I'm not religious myself. I'm not a religious person myself, just that I came across one of the Buddha emphasis about the present. If you have studied Buddhism before, or if you claim yourself as Buddhist, then you should recognize this. Buddha always suggests that we have to concentrate on the present. Be aware of the present. Live in the present. That's what Buddha would say. Live in the present. Be aware. Notice the present. Understand the present, what is right now. Live by or live within the present. อยู่กับปัจจุบัน live in the present. Be aware that this is your present now. Stop thinking about the past, the future. Just concentrate on your present. This is what Buddha say. If you recognize this concept from Buddha Press 1 นะคะ I'm about to go on. You understand ใช่ไหม Live by present. Be aware of this present. นี่สับเหมือนป้ารัตนาแล้วนะเนี่ย โอเคค่ะ thank you ค่ะ โอเคนับฟังนะคะ listen time has never stopped moving time always move how long can a present last how long can a present last have you ever thought about it time never stop moving always move forward so how long is our present like right now at this moment of time we are in the present and then just one breath after earlier already a past now present and soon will be past the future is about to come what does he mean by living in the present when we don't even know how long a present lasts how long a present lasts if Buddha say try to concentrate on your present then how long is the present if the very hard to try to understand this some people may say well the present of us right now is that we are students so the present is that we have to concentrate on studying and try to graduate that present of yours you define it yourself what I'm saying is like you define that your present is last as long as you are a student you will say like well at the present I'm a student I'm going to study hard I'm going to live life studying for now this is my present it means that everyone define their own present how long the present should be for me I'm no longer a student I'm a lecturer but when I define my present I define it differently I don't say that my present is that I am a teacher I have to concentrate on teaching until I reach age of 60 that's not my present I define my present as being a mother to my daughter so my present will last from now from back then and until the day that I die that's my present so present does not exist because first we don't know how long the present lasts we normally define our own present we are the one that dictate or we are the one that say how long our present will last so right after you graduate you will have to enter the workforce you probably say that your present change you become a worker that's your present you are a worker and I'm going to concentrate on working until I retire that's your present so everyone present can be different from one another so in general present does not exist not only that we don't know how long it lasts but also we are the one that come up with our own present present can only be real to us but not for to others เข้าใจไหมคะif you are okay press 1ค่ะ any question throw it in นะ what else? When you use space and time to study human activities, always be aware that things that you perceive, the data that you collect, the evidence that you collect may not be real, may not be reliable. You always have to have more evidence, more information in order to claim something or in order to generalize something, right? Always have to have tons of information from the opposite side of view as well, not only the information on one side of view, information from the opposite side of views, and tons of information, and then you can formulate your own idea. um, what I'm trying to say here is that the geographical information can always be updated, because whenever we gather more information, more evidence, we develop new concept, we develop new descriptions of things, and then we propose this new description of things to the geographical studies. So we don't have to stick with the old piece of information all the time. Okay, so information can always develop. Like I said, the history. Right now, each country tend to have their own history written by their own people. All right. The history may not be so true, may not explain all the details that happen. Okay. Cannot explain all the big picture of the situation. So if we gather information from Laos, from Cambodia, from our own country, and maybe from the Westerners when they came in contact with our country, how they look at our country, how they perceive our country, we gather everyone information, put all together, mix and match, and formulate new historical information. We can do that. We are not changing the history, just that we can formulate better history that explain the whole situation. Right? So history is not definite. It's not guaranteed. We can always update it. Right? Update it, not change it, update it, make it more clear, make it more reasonable. Right? Last theory. I strongly suggest for you to use this theory to study human activities. I think this is the best theory that you could use. But in the question, I have one tiny question to ask you to criticize what is the best theory that you could use to study human geography or human activities. I myself proposing dialectical theory. But if you think other theories that I gave is better, feel free to choose those theories, but explain why you think space and time, why you think constructivism, why you think cognitivism, why you think realism. Okay? But myself, I'm proposing dialectical theory. You are not going to get it wrong if you choose different theories, I only want to see your criticism. I want to see your opinion, why you think realism, why you think certain theories better. Okay, you can choose any theory. You're not gonna get lower score because you know you don't think the same as me. But I'm proposing dialectical theory. Dialectical theory consists consist of three components. Three components. The first one is thesis. The second one is anti-thesis. The fourth one is synthesis. This theory is proposed by Karl Marx. Proposed by Karl Marx, a socialist. But don't worry about the name of the founder or anything like that. I want you to understand the concept. Just have to introduce you who made this theory. Anyway, the dialectical theory consists of the three components: thesis, antithesis, and synthesis. Thesis explain the situation that already happened. It also explains how it happened. It also explains the nature of the situation. Thesis means the situation that already happened. It includes the nature of the situation, how it happened. That's thesis. So the situation that happened can be positive situation or negative situation. It can be something positive, it can be something negative. The second component, antithesis. Antithesis refer to a situation that has not happened yet. It is more like our imagination. If it were to happen, it would be a situation that's opposite with the situation in the thesis. One more time. Synthesis refer to imagination situation. It has not happened yet. There's a possibility that it may happen. But if it were to happen, the situation will be opposite of the situation in the thesis or the situation that really happened. So if the situation in the thesis is a positive situation, so the situation that may happen in the antithesis would be a negative situation. If you understand this, you got it. Press 1 ค่ะ before I go on to synthesis. If you have question, press 2. If you want me to repeat, press 2. If you are okay, press 1 หน่อยค่ะ You sure นะ I'm moving on นะคะอ่ะ Synthesis is a combination between thesis and antithesis. Roughly speaking, synthesis means a combination of positive and negative things. The result of combination is that we are going to have something more neutral to hold on to. We will be able to have general view of the whole situation. Okay, general view of the whole situation or bigger picture of the situation. By using dialectical theory, these allow the researcher or the people who want to study the situation to pull themselves off the situation, make them see things in bird eye views. Think of it this way. If you are looking at the fight, the situation where people are fighting, you're standing at the same level as the fighters. You only see one thing, one angle, one story, just one tiny part of the story. But for dialectical theory, it said, well, don't stay there. Go to the second floor, go to the third stories, so that you can view down and see all the angle of the situation. That's the kind of things that dialectical theory is trying to suggest for us to be or to do. Have bird eye views. Try to understand the whole picture of the situation. And you can only do that if you mix between the situation that already happened and think of the alternative situations that may happen. You combine it together. You understand the situation better. Okay? And by combining the situation that already happened and alternative situation that has not happened yet, these allow us to reach harmony, to be neutral, preventing us from justifying the situation, or it preventing us from judging if the people if the people in the situations are right or wrong. It makes us understand the people who are in the situation better. Like I said, if you are standing on one side, you will only see one side of the story. You may think that the person A is bad, the person B is good. It makes you come up with judgment. You justify who's good, who's bad. Okay, without understanding them all, why they're fighting, why they use certain technique to fight with one another. But with dialectical theory, it's more like pulling you out from the situation and let you see everything with bird eye views. You will have a better understanding what caused B to behave like this, what caused A to behave like this, and what exactly the conflicts that these two people have. Why are they acting the way they're acting right now? you will have a better understanding of both sides. It helps prevent you from judging who's right, who's wrong, who's good, who's bad. It makes you become neutral, see things through. All right, it makes you see things through, preventing you from uh ปรัชญาจ้ะโอเคจ้ะเดี๋ยว I'm going to give you uh an example, more example นะจ๊ะ to make it clearer for you จ้ะอ่ะ I'm going to give example. Let's say right now Salaya, where our campus is, right now Salaya people are having a very bad situation. They experiencing drought, not having enough water supplies to use for their daily living, not enough water supplies to use for their plantation. So they made a complaint and asked for the government to help them out. Okay, so Salaya representative may send a letter to the Prime Minister of Thailand and say, well, we are in trouble, we don't have enough water supply, could you come up with some plan that help us, come up with some solution for us? So Lung Tu, our Prime Minister, may come up with the plan to help out Salaya people. He may say that he's going to build the dam for Salaya people so that during the rainy season, the dam will collect enough water and the people can use the water from the dam during the summer season or the dry season. Building the dam is a thesis. Let's say that it's already happened. Lung Tu is building the dam. Okay, something positive to people. This is something that people like, so we say that building the dam is positive. It's a thesis. Lung Tu already building. Okay. Now, after Lung Tu start building the dam, the Greenpeace people, they are so concerned about environmental degradation or the environmental problems that may happen in Salaya after the dam construction. Guys, when you are building the dam, you have to create big landscape. You may have to cut down trees, destroy some of the farmland, destroy some of the forest area. Okay, you may have to relocate some of the community in Salaya, move them out somewhere else so that you can have big space to build the dam. So the Greenpeace, they're concerned, they worry that, hey, the dam may cause some environmental problems. So the Greenpeace probably will list possible things that may happen after building the dam. First, the Greenpeace may say deforestation. Deforestation may occur, means that the size of the forest will reduce. When the size of the forest reduce, these disturb ecosystem in the area. The characteristic of the area will change. It has not happened yet. It's just a prediction, something negative that may happen from building the dam. Deforestation. Second thing, Greenpeace may say, if you build a dam, some of the animals, some of the living things may have to migrate where else. They may not have shelter. They may go extinct. They may go extinct because some of the animals, some of the species are specific, are basically are originated in certain area. They are not exist anywhere else. They only exist in that area. If you build a dam, you destroy their home. They may go extinct. they may be gone forever. All right. Animals will not have a place to move to, they will not have a place to live. Also, Greenpeace may say some of the communities, some of the villages will have to be relocated. The Greenpeace may say, how will these people survive when they have to move somewhere else? Are they going to have shelter? Are they going to have a place to move to? How are they going to survive? Are we just creating more social problems, making life more difficult for those people who have to move away? Do we have enough support for them when they have to move away? These are just examples of the problems that may occur after building the dam, not yet happened. Just imagination, possibilities of the consequences that may happen. So these are the negative things. All right. Now, in order to please Saraya people, and in order to please Greenpeace people, remember Saraya people need water. They want to have the dam. But the Greenpeace people, they worry about environmental problems that will come after. How do we neutralize or harmonize the two groups of people? So we combine the benefits that people will receive from having the dam with the negative consequences that may happen. We combine it together. As a result, we have synthesis. The synthesis is a neutral solutions that everyone can be happy. Since the Greenpeace said that the forest will reduce. So if the government, the solution is that if the government cut down 5 trees, there's 5 acres of land again. If the forest cut down 5 acres of the forest, then the government will have to find another 5 acres of land to grow back the forest, grow back the tree, give back to the nature. That's how to solve it. For the animals that may have to relocate, they may have to migrate, the government can protect them by providing animal sanctuary. I don't know if you ever heard of this term, animal sanctuary, a place where they take care of those animals while they are looking for a new place to settle. You know, like in Thailand, we have the elephant sanctuary, a place where we take care of the elephants. Once they are ready, we return them back to the nature. So provide a sanctuary for these animals to migrate to, right? It's not that we open the gate and then the animal will come. We may have to go search for them where they are and then put them in the sanctuary, make sure that they are safe, they will survive. All right, that's how we preserve some of the rare animals, rare species in our area. So problem solved. The third one, the villagers that may have to migrate where else. The Greenpeace said that, well, are they going to be okay? Are they going to be able to reestablish somewhere else? It can be fixed with the synthesis. The government will provide places for those people to migrate into. All right, those people can, start their own economic activities and build their own homes and things like that in the place where the government provide. The government can create the same environment for the people so that they will feel like they are at home. Use the same environment that people move from and establish those new environment to the new place so that people will feel like they are still at home, they are not being abandoned, and the government should give them some financial support for their loss, right? They lost their home, so to build their new home, government need to help build the new home or give them financial support, help them reestablish their careers, their economic activities and things like that. So problem solved. Now, with synthesis, Saraya people can continue to have the dam. They will be able to use the water supply from the dam. At the same time, the environmental problems will not occur because we fix in advance. We prevent it from happening in advance. The people are happy when they have to move. The animals have a place to live while they are looking for a new place. So problem solved. We combine positive thing and negative thing together, allow us to be able to neutralize all the problems, see all the problems in general with bird eye views. That's it. That's all for today ค่ะพัทยาโอเคไหมเอ่ยลูก No attendance today นะ I'm just taking the photo of the screenshot. That's all ค่ะ You guys are free to leave. If you have questions, stick around. If you think you're good, you're okay. Free to leave ค่ะ Tomorrow I will see you ไม่ใช่ tomorrow next week I will see you on campus นะคะ same room ค่ะ 2 to 5บายบายค่ะ thank you ค่ะ for being